Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right. Let's get this shit started. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed the previous episode with Jeffrey Bryan of the KTEL All-Stars and of Survivor. I heard it was a pretty cool show. So I know I mentioned listener Roy. He was going to be there. He was there. Told me it was a great opener and a great show and everything. So, keep an eye out for KTEL Survivors for Survivor. Sorry, KTEL All-Stars for Survivor. And go see Jeffrey at a show. But I'm back today with a brand new guest. Want to welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Emma Williams. How you doing?
Hello, I'm supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, usually when they say how you doing, I don't get that response, but I'm feeling that, right?
Don't ask me how to spell it.
I don't think anybody knows how to spell it, but you're so where are you joining us from today again?
So I am joining you from my mom's garage.
Yeah.
So because I currently live in my mom's garage in an attached room, but I'm from a small town called Hollywood, Maryland. We were only ever mentioned once in a movie, which was Tenacious D, Pick a Destiny. So fantastic film. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So are you an LA transplant? Were you from LA originally?
No, so I have a very weird background. So I was born in Ohio and I grew up here in Southern Maryland, but a good amount of my life was spent in Chicago because my mom's whole family's from there. And I actually didn't go out to California. I went to school out in San Francisco, and I didn't go out there until I was like in my mid-20s.
Okay, so you got a good taste of all over the U.S.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. My next goal is to make it down to New Orleans. So
nice. I mean, before we get to business, I gotta comment on some of the places you've lived here. So Ohio, right? I worked in schools and I worked with a principal. So she ended up working like in the hood, in California, right? And she came from a small, like little, small town in Ohio. They only had one street light, right?
Oh shit. Was it Akron?
I don't know, maybe, but I mean, it was like small. And so she said, when I came out here, I couldn't believe the Mexican food. She goes, because when I was growing up, they finally opened up a Taco Bell and we thought, wow, this is Mexican food, authentic Mexican food, right? And so she came over here and it was like a huge surprise to her. So,
my gosh.
I'm wondering if you've ever had like that kind of culture shock. I mean, and I'm not even going to mention pizza. You mentioned Chicago, right?
I grew up with homemade Chicago deep dish pizza. My dad had it's a family recipe at this point. I love Chicago pizza. So it beats New York pizza. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that comment. I'm sorry, but your pizza's too damn greasy, New York.
And it's like a cracker, right? They say that Chicago pizza is like a casserole. Like if you're going to call that a casserole, then New York pizza is a cracker. So
as Jon Stewart said on the Daily Show once, it's a marinara pool for rats. The deep dish.
All right.
But I don't care. I'll swim in that marinara pool.
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the deep dish for sure. But now we'll get down to a little bit of business here, right? So. You're here to talk about give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain in the gaming world, yes?
Yeah, so I mainly started out in film and TV and stuff. The pandemic, of course, hit a lot of people in the storyboarding and visual development. And I remember talking to a teacher once. She's like, it's harder to get into gaming than it is into film. So, because film, there's a lot more networks, whereas gaming, there's networks. However, you have to go through a lot more, loops and stuff. There's a lot more technicalities to it. And I will also remember him telling me once, like, if you ever start out in games, it's tougher to transfer over to film than film to gaming and stuff, because a lot of film people, they don't want gaming people. So
Wow.
which I thought was interesting, because if you look at a lot of games nowadays, a lot of the cutscenes are basically cinematic pieces. I mean, you have to look at The Last of Us. Oh god, what's another good one?
So I
God of
just
War.
okay. I was gonna say because I'm not much of a gamer because I'm old school. I love Super Mario and all that.
Oh
But
yeah.
I just finished Tears of the Kingdom. You know, new Zelda game.
Oh.
That's pretty cinematic too. You know, and like
Mhm.
that's the cool part of it. And you're right. A lot of games are kind of leaning that way now. It's not just I loved the Super Mario games, but it's pretty crappy ending. You know, when you finish it, it's just like okay, you saved the
Yeah.
princess. You know, here's a quick little 2 minute or 1 minute even like ending, and then cut to the
Mhm.
credits. You
Yeah,
know?
and I still have yet to see the movie. My one nephew has been begging me to go see the new Super Mario movie. I just haven't had
Yeah,
time.
I think it's really good. It makes up for that 1990s debacle that I thought I
Oh,
liked as a kid, and now I'm like, yeah, no.
recently rewatched a little bit of that and I cringed. I'm like, why was I into this?
Well, where the hell did you find it? Because it's not in streaming anywhere.
It's not. Oh, my brother had it on VHS somewhere.
Okay,
So
that explains it.
yeah, no, we were cleaning out my basement the other day and like we found a bunch of old VHS tapes. So we found Dogma, which you can't find anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
So I love that movie. It's the
Huh.
best Jay and Silent Bob movie ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that. I think you can't find like what's that one that was real controversial? Was it Kids?
Kids. I'm not 100% sure. Well, and I mean, the reason why you can't find Dogma that much anymore is because it was a Harvey Weinstein production.
Uh,
So, and a lot of the movies you can't find anymore,
mhm.
unfortunately, ever since that whole situation came to light. And it's really sad because there were a lot of great movies and a lot of great productions and stuff that came out of it. And it kind of got destroyed because of one guy.
Mhm.
So, yeah, kind of fucked up.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned you originally, wanted to be in film, and now you've kind of landed in gaming, right? Um,
Yeah. I'm kind
did
of
you?
in both still.
Okay.
So I just finished up an animation contract this past March with a UK studio
Mhm.
called 3D Sparrow. They mostly make children's TVs. It's called Booba.
Hmm.
It's a very odd name, I know, but that's just the name of the character. But the animation was really great. So yeah, I'm still kind of in both worlds. So,
Gotcha.
because my dad was a writer, he was a comedy writer, so we always kind of stayed in the movie and film part.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And
had a
you
very
met
odd upbringing.
now you mentioned kind of like this closed world of like the people in video games, right? It kind of it almost reminds me of like pro wrestling, right? Where it's like you have to
Mhm.
know somebody that's going to bring you in. It's almost like being in the mob, right? Somebody has to bring you
It
in.
really is almost like being the mob. Like let's think back to Goodfellas, just like you scratch my back, I scratch your back sort of deal and stuff. But if I'm gonna scratch your back, you have to do more for me, more type of work.
Mhm.
So, and the best way like you can network with people in these industries is to physically get out there, in my opinion, to like get to these expos, animation expos, gaming expos,
Mhm.
film expos, heck, even book expos. There are plenty of book nerds that play video games. Trust me, especially if
Mhm.
you play Dungeons and Dragons.
For sure. Now, is this something that you wanted to do when you were like in school? Like, you knew you wanted to, and I would I, how would I even say you wanted to create storyboards, or am I kind of getting the
So, so
terminology
yeah,
right there?
yeah. So I knew I wanted to work in animation and just create something ever since I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Mhm.
So, and the movie that actually started it off for me was Treasure Planet. So I feel like it was a really underrated film, and a lot of people need to go back and rewatch it. There should not be a live action remake on it. Don't you dare do it, Disney. I will be very mad if they try to remake that. Um, but I didn't know where I wanted to start off in animation. At first, I was thinking like character designer or like doing straight up animation, but I didn't know exactly how to get started because I didn't have a lot of internet growing up. I grew out in the middle of the country and yeah, but I didn't discover storyboarding until I was like 16. And I took a TV video production class in my high school, and I will never forget Mr. Millam. That was the name of my TV teacher. And he introduced me to storyboarding. And I was just like, this is exactly what I want to do. It's similar to comic books, but it's a lot more technical and I like it.
Now, you know, I don't know anything about this, so I'm just assuming here, like what I've seen on TV and stuff, right? This is where you essentially draw out the scenes and you map them out on like a wall or something, right? Where everybody can kind of discuss, like, you know, here's what's going on here, here's what's going on there, right? Is that kind of like in the line of what?
That's the hardcover copy of it, basically. Yeah. So that was really the old-fashioned way, and a lot of people still do it that way too. If you look back at a great example of storyboarding is Disney's Bambi. If you look back and actually look at the guy who did the storyboarding, I can't remember his name, but he was a legend. He mapped out that entire movie and drew in his style, and Disney was like, I want the entire movie animated in this style right now. So, but there's a lot more technical work to storyboarding now, because now we've entered the digital era of a lot of art. So, and I will admit it is easier to storyboard in like Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. That's the main program I use, and in Photoshop. And right now I'm trying my best to teach myself 3D storyboarding. So, and it's in like Blender and stuff. So just drawing in a 3D space, fantastic for camera movements. So, and storyboarding, it will always be needed. So no matter what, but there will always be challenges in it because there's a lot of technical stuff that changes every year basically with it. So that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really like, that's what I guess turns ideas to like something tangible, right?
Yep, basically. So yeah, just taking like the script and then mapping out the script, lining up the story beats and stuff. And I always say whenever you work from a script, always draw the ending out first. That way you know where you're drawing to. So, and you know where you're mapping the story out to.
Right. Okay.
So that's how I've always kind of approached it.
And so, you know, you discovered it in your, you know, TV class in high school, right? You figured, you know, hey, I got a passion for this. I really want to do this. What's like, you know, higher education look like for this? Is that something that, you know, is easy to get into, or again, it kind of takes, you know, some looking around and some poking around?
So this is where I'm going to go on a rant. So
everybody
who is listening that wants to be a storyboard artist, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to go to art school to become a storyboard artist. Don't make the same mistake I did. Not to say it was a mistake. I went to art school mainly just for storyboarding and animation stuff because I needed connections. And also I didn't really know a lot of the technical work, and I needed extra help. My teacher mostly should have been YouTube. That's where you need to go.
YouTube University. Yeah.
I am, how do I put this? I have actually 2 art degrees and I have severe student loan debt.
Ooh, yeah, that's not good.
So
damn it, Biden didn't get us our promise.
Don't even get me started on this whole student loan debt relief. I knew it wasn't going to happen was the thing. I actually had a gut feeling. I remember looking at my uncle one day. I'm like, it's not going to happen. So it's just not going to.
I don't even want to talk about the Supreme Court and all that, because then we're going to turn this into a different podcast.
So yeah. But but just for fellow listeners of people who are interested in becoming storyboarders, no, you do not have to go to art school. But a great start is go on LinkedIn or like go on to websites for animation companies or like networking sites like Women in Animation. That's who I'm mostly with. You can actually join free Zoom lectures and calls and stuff about like movies that came out on Netflix or like productions and stuff. And like you can get to talk to people on how to get started and all that, become a member of like those types of animation organizations. Women in Animation is really phenomenal. I really love them. So yeah.
It's an interesting point, because a lot of people think like, whatever their future is, right? They're like, no, I have to, get a degree in this. I have to get some sort of formal education in this. And, you mentioned, the University of YouTube, right? YouTube
University
Tech,
of YouTube.
right? And I've seen that firsthand, with students that I ran a lot of after school programs, over the last, almost 20 years now. Right. And I've seen students really, really into art that don't have, art classes, because a lot of schools don't have art classes anymore. Right. Teach themselves how to draw, how to paint, how to do art, right, using YouTube.
Yep,
and
YouTube. It's a miracle for teaching on just the little things that become major things. So yeah,
and everything, it's really incredible, because the internet sometimes is a cesspool of just rotting shit, right? But sometimes you find those gems in there. And even like for anybody that wants to be like even a musician or something, I've seen some really good tutorials that are like, super slow and let's take it piece by piece. And so I imagine with the art tutorials that are on there too, it's like that for people that want to get into art, it's step by step. It makes sense, right? It's almost like you have a teacher there with you, right? Guiding you.
Right.
And it's really cool to know that that's, that, and obviously, like you mentioned, making those connections, reaching out to people, kind of like a do-it-yourself kind of career. You can fall into this, career path as kind of like a really do-it-yourself kind of thing, right? Of course, it's not going to be like super simple. Like, hey, you reach out to someone on LinkedIn. It's like, all right, cool. You got a job. You got to put in the work, right?
Oh yeah, no, you got to have a portfolio ready and stuff. You got to have certain things set up and to present. And that's the tough part, is actually getting all that stuff ready. Nobody actually talks about time management with it. So, and because everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to go into animation, I'm going to get a job right away. That was the ignorant thought I had when I was in school, that I was going to come out, get a job right away and stuff. And I kind of learned towards the end of school and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a lot harder than I realized. So, but it's okay now. I mean, if it weren't for art school, I wouldn't have met some of my best friends. So I don't regret that. I did make some amazing connections while I was living in San Francisco. Was a little mad when the pandemic hit, because that was my final semester.
Oof.
And my graduation was a digital graduation, and I was so angry.
See, it worked out for me because I didn't want to. I actually was going to school at the time too, and I didn't want to walk to graduation because I hate that kind of stuff, right? So they're just like, hey, they just mailed me my what do you call it? My degree, and I'm like, that works for me, right? I didn't even have to. There was one class I didn't even have to finish because nobody was showing up. I don't think
really.
I don't even think the professor was like showing up anymore. I stopped showing up because there was nobody there, right? And then, so yeah, it worked beautifully for me.
Yeah, I had to fight my school to get my degree mailed to me. So, because they're like, well, we sent out a mass email for everybody to log into, like to send it to. I'm like, you never sent it. So I never got anything. So, and it turns out like they were all sending to the school emails, which nobody checks instead of our personal emails.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, so a lot, like almost 200 people didn't get their degrees in the mail.
Oh man.
So they were mad.
Well, we're hopefully out of the woods there, but I don't know. You never know.
It's been 3 years now since I've graduated. So slowly getting out of the woods.
Well, you talked about The Last of Us. We could all turn into mushrooms. You never know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a vegetarian. I'm halfway there.
Oh shit, you are what you eat, right?
You are what you eat.
Uh, no wonder your camera's not on. It was like you're part of a half portobello right now, right?
So maybe I do like a good portobello mushroom
Oh
sandwich.
yeah, yeah. See,
Yeah, those are good.
I am a meat eater, but if you told me
That's
like
okay.
if you told me like, hey, you can never eat meat again, I'd be like, I'm just gonna eat a shitload of portobello mushrooms. Like it's got a very meaty like feel to it to me.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it too. So that and jackfruit, like you can just shred it up, just mix it with some barbecue sauce.
Mhm.
I used to eat meat all the time, and I actually became a vegetarian not for health reasons and like for other stuff. It's because I was cheap as hell. And I was living in San Francisco and they were charging like $6 or $7 a pound for just ground beef. And I'm like,
Ooh,
oh, hell no. I'm
yeah.
like, I think I'll go vegetarian for a semester.
Like, I'm just gonna
And
go pick the fruits myself and
yeah, yeah. So, and I just kind of stuck with it and stuff. And it was like a lot easier on my gut. So I'm just like, okay, there might be something to this.
uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what what and I kind of got a little bit glimpse of it. I was talking to somebody on your team about this a little bit, but not too much, right? But what are you working on right now? What's a big project you're working on right now?
Ooh. So, right now I am working on Cortland's project. So that is going pretty well so far. I'm actually almost done with the animatic.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, that's going well. I
And
am
then I don't know how much you can share, but like what's it about, or what can you tell us about that?
so well due to contract reasons. So it's about a boy.
Okay.
So trying to avenge his brother.
Okay, all right. Sounds like
So I don't want to give too much of the surprise away.
for sure. Yeah, yeah.
So
But it's almost done, and I mean, for people that know, it's a video game, right? We're talking about a video game.
yeah, so it's starting off as a TV show that will be developed later into a video game. So it's kind of both, which I do appreciate. A lot of the TV shows now be based off of video games.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it, like, I mean, The Last of Us, The Walking Dead, it's mostly zombie stuff that's mostly becoming TV shows right now, if you think about it. I'm
Yeah.
currently waiting for the Legend of Zelda
Oh
TV show
hell
to come
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
If
Wait.
if they don't cast Tom Holland, I'm gonna be mad.
So let's wait. Is there anything out about that? Because I've always thought like, man, they could do so much with that because you know.
I only saw concept art for it. I only saw a little concept art for it, and that was about it.
Mm.
So, and I keep trying to get updates on it, and I'm just like, what's going on?
Because I think after the success of the Super Mario movie, there was like a lot of buzz like, hey, maybe we should do Zelda next. And
Yep.
uh,
So, and my thing is about that, with the Super Mario movie coming out, I feel like now the cinematic industry is going to be a little bit flooded, with video game based movies and TV shows now. So, because we're obviously there's going to be a sequel to the Super Mario movie. I heard from my nephew with the whole ending and stuff.
mhm.
Um, so all I really want is Tenacious D to be a reunite animated Tenacious D in the sequel. Uh, but I feel like we are going to get kind of flooded because, I mean, look at Marvel. Like, literally all their phases were flooded and stuff. Like, now the whole comic book thing, I feel personally, is like overdone.
It's jumped the
And
shark. Yeah.
yeah, it's just overdone and it came out too fast, really. And it's been going on for a really long time. So, and now the next phase is, oh, let's take a lot of these video games and turn them into movies. So, like, I have a gut feeling within the next 3 or 4 years there's going to be a Kirby movie.
Ooh,
So, not the race car,
yeah, yeah.
for
Oh, for
those who
sure.
remember the car. So
Or the
I do.
vacuum cleaner, huh?
Yeah, the vacuum cleaner. So, and I will admit, Kirby's the most overpowered character that there is. So people can fight me on that. He is overpowered.
You might be a little younger than me, Emma, but no, I mean there was an actual Kirby vacuum, like
Was
the yeah, yeah. It was my dad used to sell them. door to door.
Really?
Uh-huh. And it's actually like a really good vacuum. I don't know which came first. I'm assuming the vacuum cleaner, and then the character was named after the vacuum cleaner, but it's got like horsepower and everything. It's got a patent on it.
Wait, no, I actually read somewhere about who Kirby was named after, and it wasn't I do remember something about a vacuum.
Mm-hmm. They must have taken elements of that vacuum though, because
they had to. They had to take elements.
He's essentially a vacuum.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like now the video game industry is going to get overflooded from Hollywood and like animation department and all that stuff. And animation is cinematics. Let's just clear that up and stuff. Like, it is not just for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
no, you're right. Just, I mean, I don't like Marvel movies. I'll just throw it out there. I am not a fan of Marvel movies. You know, and
that's totally okay. I'm not a fan of DC movies.
Or sorry, let me rephrase that. In general, I'm not a fan of superhero movies. I can't watch them. Like, I think maybe, you know, if I go back to the 90s Meteor Man, because it was funny, you know. But I was maybe one or two Batmans in there, but I just think it's too much, you know. Like, you have to keep up with so much. Like the people that watch the whole, you know, what do they even call it? The Avengers and all that, right? You have to watch like 20 movies. Like, yeah. I'm not watching 20 movies to get all that stuff. You know,
I have a short attention span, so I'm like, just give me the brief download version of this. Okay, this is too much now. A long time ago, I used to be able to sit through it, but now I'm just like, I'm 30 years old. I'm just like, just give me the synopsis. We're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think, you know, one superhero movie, you've seen one of them, you've seen them all. Basically, that's my. I mean, that's just my mindset. But with the video games, I'm really interested, just because you mentioned that, you know, the movie industry might be leaning that way, right? Yeah. And I'm wondering, you know, like what kind of, you know, freedom they have to change things, right? Let's look at something that was, you know, hugely successful as a video game, and, you know, something like Resident Evil, right? Yeah. Resident Evil was an amazing story in the video game, and then they went and made it something completely different in the movies. I remember leaving the first Resident Evil movie thinking like, what the fuck was that? You know, I'm like,
I only liked the first two, and that was it.
Okay. And especially as they started making more, I'm like, oh, hell no, right?
Nope. So, and now they're apparently remaking a new Mortal Kombat movie. Or it might be a TV show. I kind of saw some concepts for that. Twisted Metal, that's coming out as a TV series now. So yeah. My little brother, I have 5 brothers, by the way. My little brother is extremely excited for that because he's a heavy duty Twisted Metal fan. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, you are going to be seeing it happen a lot more. Mm-hmm. So, and my question is, in the future and stuff, once we're all done with like the video games turned into movies and TV shows, what's going to be next? Like, are we going to go into VR? Is everything going to be? Is there going to be an AI concept like movie? Like, is AI going to take over and stuff? And now everything going on with the writer's strike, I feel like it's kind of leaning that way, and it's endangering a lot of the human touch of creativity.
Yeah, I actually talked to one of the co-writers of Dumb and Dumber a few weeks ago.
Oh, sweet.
You know, Bennett Yellen is his name, and we were talking about AI. You know, and it's kind of, you know, like you mentioned, right? It might do the job where it's like it'll present like a script, but that script is going to need many, many edits to make it feel right. You know, that'll give you like a basic starting point, you know, but you cannot replace the human touch. But the problem with that is that now they're going to, you know, there's going to be less work where people are going to be like, you know, oh, well, we only need you to do a quick rewrite, you know? And so, you know, you'll get AI generating all of these scripts, and then the real writers will only be used to, like, you know, put some finishing touches on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, AI is going to be very annoying in my opinion, and I feel like also as a society, sorry, I'm choking a little. As a society, fuck, I cannot say that word. Society.
There we go.
Okay. As a society, I feel like we're pursuing AI a little bit too much, and not to say fully pull the plug on it. I do think it's interesting. However, we're going too fast on it to the point where it's having conversations with itself. We've all seen Terminator. Come on, learn your lessons.
They started creating their own languages with each other. It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not saying pull the plug on it, but like maybe let's slow down a little bit right now, okay?
And you know what I'm wondering is how that would affect, like the animators, right? The people that work on these storyboards and whatnot. How would that affect your, the need for y'all, right?
So, I mean, the thing is, as a famous quote, story is king. Mm-hmm. So that's always been said to storyboarders. You will always need a good story. Storytelling has been one of the oldest jobs in the whole world and stuff. It's been around since the age of cavemen. Mm. But now with AI, like it's creating and writing its own script. I once remember reading a thing from Hayao Miyazaki, the CEO of and director of Studio Ghibli and stuff. He was talking to a couple of these young buck interns who used an AI. I think this was like back in like 2011, maybe. And they used AI to write up its own script, and he read it. He's just like, what the fuck? Mm. So he's just like, this is disgraceful and stuff. Like, you didn't put any of your heart into it. Mm. And that's the thing we're not going to see from AI. We're not going to see any of the heart put into like these movies and like the emotions and stuff. Mm-hmm. My concern is, when does AI start understanding emotions? That's where I'm going to get scared. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So yeah. And then it starts like controlling the medical field too.
I was thinking about like, how sometimes you'll tell like AI, like, hey, draw me a picture of, I don't know. A lot of people do like, oh, Donald Trump working at McDonald's, right? And it'll generate a picture of him working at McDonald's. It'll generate a commercial of him selling a McDonald's meal, right? And those are pretty cool. But then there's limitations too, because, there's those apps where it's like, hey, put yourself in AI. And I tried one time for shits and giggles, and it gave me like 4 noses and like an eye down here. I'm like, what?
It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. What I like about AI is like, the one thing I do like is you can like type stuff in for like reference. Mm-hmm. I do like that. If you want to find like drawing or inspiration references, totally fine. What I don't like about AI art and imaging is when it steals from other artists and to like create their own mosaic and arts. I remember seeing an AI image one time, and it stole an artist's signature and put it in their piece and stuff. And the artist was just like, what the fuck? Mm. So, and they're like, oh, well, it's not yours, it's ours now. So, yeah, the AI artist who created and stuff, I'm just like, no. That, I feel like it's unfair. I feel like AI should stay in its own lane when it comes to art.
Yeah, so. It could get kind of sticky right there for sure.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I want to go back a little bit and we mentioned like, movies like, Resident Evil, changing it up and things like that when it comes to like video game, to movie. Now, for somebody like you, right, what kind of, maybe freedom creatively or whatever do you have as far as like if you had to turn, a video game or any character, right, a book, whatever, somebody that's already established, right, into like, some sort of art, what kind of freedom do you have there? Or do you kind of have to stick to what's already been described, established, seen? What does that look like?
Well, see, if I'm under contract and I'm working with a director, and the director and like the creative director want a certain style, I have to stick to that certain style. I can suggest bringing in some of my own things or like some touches, but I can't fully do everything in my style. Like, say, for example, like I get hired onto a TV show like The Simpsons. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can't draw the storyboards and everything in like Disney or anime style and stuff. I have to draw it in Simpson style and stuff, because if I do that, it's going to confuse the animators when it goes up to up the line on the animation pipeline and stuff, and it's going to confuse them like, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So, and they're going to be like, go back and redraw it or you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
So, and unfortunately, I have known a few people who prefer to draw in their own style. And the thing about storyboard artists is you have to be versatile in drawing in multiple styles. There's no point of finding an art style. So like there really isn't. I say the more diversity that, or is diversity, like, is that the word?
Versatility?
Yes. Okay. That, don't play me in Scrabble. I'm terrible. The more open you are to different styles, the more you'll be able to draw in like certain styles on storyboards and shows and like TVs and all that, or films. Yeah. I can't. Starters.
Okay. So yeah, so it's, if it's something like that's kind of like, that's in the contract, you got to stick with it, right? Are there any opportunities like ever for any sort of like, creativity where you're like, hey, let me just give all my own kind of touch on this? Like, have you ever had that, or has it mostly been like, I have to stick to what I'm told?
So mostly it's been the contract, stick to what I've been told. If I ever want to draw in like my own style or like my own creativity and stuff, is when it's my own story and I want to pitch it and stuff, then, or if I want to add something to my portfolio, then I'll draw in like whatever style I feel more comfortable drawing in. I prefer to stick to like a more realistic type of drawing, storyboard, kind of like comic book styling. That's what I was mostly trained in, and like that's what I feel comfortable in drawing. But like if somebody needs me to draw something a little bit more cartoony, like Looney Tunes or Animaniacs, then yeah, okay, I will learn that.
Okay. Now, this is kind of like again, this is me not knowing anything about the industry kind of question, right? Are there like awards for like storyboard artists and whatnot? Like,
yes, there are. And I want to tell you all about the wonders of the Annie Awards. That is basically the Oscars for just animation. So, and there is a category for storyboard artists. So, and it's actually really wonderful. If you ever get a chance, Google the Annie Awards. I feel like it's very underrated, but it's a really big thing in the animation world.
Nice. All right. Yeah, because I was going to say, that's like hard work. And sometimes maybe if there's not like, awards and things like that, like you're kind of just like, well, what the hell do I even do it for? And obviously, got the love and the passion for it and things like that, right? But everybody wants to excel in what they do. They want to be recognized for doing a great job, right? So I was just like, man, I wonder if there's like awards and stuff for that.
Yeah, there's awards. There's awards for it. Definitely the Annie Awards is the most popular one. And of course, like at gaming conventions, like they will have their own award shows, or like animation conventions, they'll also do that. Like Lightbox Expo, for example, they actually do, which is out in Pasadena. They actually do have gaming awards out there. It's mostly a concept artists expo, but there's all sorts of people who go to this expo. It's also very similar to CTN. Lightbox Expo got started because of CTN, because CTN's security is terrible. So I've heard horror stories about it.
All right. Well, I don't know if we'll get into all of those, but sounds interesting to me, right? I did security a lot before. So like I know, like I've done like, some bouncer work, bodyguard work, events and things like that. And a lot of these guys are like lazy as shit. They don't want to do anything.
A lot of the security guards now are. I have one brother. My brother is actually a security guard for a courthouse.
Okay.
And he's the only one who actually takes his job seriously, whereas the other ones are just like, it's a federal courthouse. And I'm just like, they just sit around on their phones all day and stuff, whereas they're instructed, don't play on your phones.
Real quick, I was once working an event, right, where obviously, you can't like, smoke cigarettes indoors and things like that, right, or anything. And I, sometimes you're like, people are smoking weed at a concert or something like that, right? You're not going to go and put out every fire, Yeah. But like if they're doing it right in front of you, come on, man. But I've worked with guys that have literally lit up, joints for people that are right there. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I mean, I know you're not getting paid shit, but like, have a little pride, man,
There comes a point in time where you have to sit down and just be like, no, I'm taking my job seriously. I don't want to get fired and stuff. And unfortunately, you don't really see that a lot more anymore. I mean, I work 2 jobs right now. So I work as a storyboard artist at night and on the weekends. And during the day, I actually work for the Navy.
Oh.
So yeah, for their CYP program, which is so much fun.
What does that stand for, by the way?
Child Youth Program.
Ah.
So I am a pre-toddler teacher. So, and the kids are great. The kids are actually really funny. And I do get a lot of funny stories from these kiddos. Like one kiddo in preschool one day, just like, Miss Emma, like, I got a lot of bills to pay. And I was just like, what bills do you have? And she's just like, I got to pay $25 a month. And I'm just like, on what? What do you spend $25 on? She's like, unicorn supplies. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's important, right?
That's important. Hey, unicorns are important at that age. So who am I to dishearten them? Yeah, no, I've gotten a lot of funny stories and inspirations from these kiddos. So just
I mean, and a cool thing, I've worked after school programs for a long time. Now I'm not in the schools anymore. I'm more kind of the office side doing trainings and things like that. But you'll inspire these kids based on your passions, right? And you might inspire a kid at some point, to look into art and maybe work with storyboards and things like that in the future. You never know what kind of influence you have on them.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I had another preschooler come up to me. They're like, Miss Emma, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And like, I mean, who doesn't love hearing that? I'm just like, listen, you can't be as perfect as me. Okay. That's going to be rough. Secondly, don't do that to yourself. You'll get a lot of anxiety. And she's like, no, I came up with a TV show and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's the TV show about? And she's like, it's about a mermaid and who wants a pet cat. And I'm just like, hold on, I need to hear more about this. Tell me more.
Yeah, he's starting to steal the ideas.
So I'm like I could see like 20 years in the future, they stole my mermaid TV show idea, and I'm just
that
like,
damn Miss Emma.
Damn you, Miss Emma. But no, but I mostly work with 1-year-olds now. They're really great. I had a 1-year-old who has an obsession with eating art supplies. And I just looked at her one day. I was just like, why do you eat this? Are you eating the markers and the crayons and stuff? She bit an Expo marker in half. So that was some strong teeth. And she looked at me dead in the eye and she goes, 'cause it's yummy. And I'm just like, no. So I was like,
I will reserve my comments for that kid, but good luck. Good luck, kid. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm used to being around kids. I came from a big family, so I mean, like I said earlier, I have 5 brothers. I'm the only girl in my family. I have 21 first cousins on my mom's side of the family. I'm the 100th great grandchild.
Jesus Christ, your family kept busy in the winters, huh?
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, Irish Catholics, so we multiply like rabbits.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay.
So they're all White Sox fans, though. It's very disappointing. So go Cubs.
I don't care about any sports, but like, combat sports like MMA or boxing and stuff. So I don't care. Like everybody here in LA, oh, the Dodgers. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
I've never liked the Dodgers. I'm sorry, everybody. I've never liked the Dodgers. You guys are, I'm sorry, Dodgers stadium stuff, all overpriced. So,
well, I try to, I guess from what I hear, because I don't go there, right? Try to find somewhere to park, try to walk out of there without getting assaulted, so, I mean, not for me,
So, best baseball stadium, in my opinion, Camden Yards, which is the Orioles Stadium in Baltimore, because you can park anywhere and just take the metro and the train station pulls right up to the stadium. So it's a lot easier and it makes sense. So I my family's a big baseball family, so
I see.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you have your own baseball teams essentially with all those cousins, right? So.
Oh, absolutely. I have one cousin though who is a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I don't know what's wrong with him. So I mean, he did grow up in St. Louis part of his life. So Ryan, if you're listening and stuff, we'll be mailing you some hamburgers later to Rome. So yeah, he lives out in Reno. So yeah, but yeah, sports, movies, that was mostly my life.
There we go. Is there anything else you want to throw out there, about, storyboards or anything that, what you wanted to throw out there to the podcast world?
For any future storyboard artists, 16:9 ratio aspect will be your best friend. So that's just basically the size of the frame.
That's like YouTube videos, right?
Yeah, basically the size of basic YouTube videos. So, because I know a lot of people who still storyboard in like tiny little old-fashioned aspect ratios and like squares and stuff. I'm like, no, you got to go wider than that. You got to go wider. So, and I know that in the future, the aspect ratio is going to get bigger, like to extreme widescreens and stuff, like with the curved widescreens. Oh. But yeah, 16:9 aspect ratio will be your best friend.
All right. There's useful tips there. And then I was asked everybody, you want, if you want people to follow you, right? Is there anywhere they could reach you or any social media you want to throw out there?
Absolutely. Yep. So my Instagram is mwilldraw. So it is EMWILLDRAW. So yeah. And I got rid of my TikTok, so I'm not doing that anymore. That was just taking up my time. But yeah, mostly my Instagram now.
All right. Sounds good. I really want to thank you for being on the podcast. Again, I love to learn about things that I have no idea about, right? But hopefully, people listening, right? If they're, because I know, I guess I mentioned I worked with a lot of kids, and some of them that have grown up now that are adults, they were artists, right? And they were great artists, and maybe this is like, for people that don't know how to get into that industry, maybe this helped them out a little bit, or just kind of shed some light on, damn, that's a lot of work. It goes into there's a lot of work that goes into that kind of stuff,
Oh, absolutely. And like the work itself will always be changing, but like I said earlier, story will always be king.
There we go. That's probably going to be the tagline for the podcast there. Story will always be king. Right?
Story will always be king.
I like that. All right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. Best of luck with everything. And for everybody listening at home, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Toodaloo.
Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.